And this will be a great transition into the Galveston diet.
Yes.
There's a lot of similarities here. She basically says that plant-based diets seem to benefit women more than men starting in midlife. And she said antioxidants are important. She even suggests double roasts, which I thought coffee drinkers out there might be excited about.
Yes.
Berries, dark leafy greens, omega-3s, and phytoestrogen-rich foods. And one of the things she said in an article I found was there's evidence that women who consume 1 serving of tropical fruits per week have better fertility and later onset of menopause. And again, I just want to remind us that if later onset is good, because once we hit menopause, we are at higher risk for many, many things. So
yes,
I am now in that zone and didn't know that. She said, of course, don't eat processed foods. And I think that means Cheez-Its, Meg, but I could be wrong. She said your risk of heart disease increases by over 30% and doubles your risk of dementia and cancer and increases your risk of depression and hemorrhagic stroke, which we have touched on before.
Yes.
But basically, when she says take care of your brains, she means several things, but one of them, and I'll just go ahead and transition into the Galveston diet, is what you eat.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it because you had mentioned it. We were talking about, I can't remember. We were talking about something.
We were talking about midlife.
We were talking about midlife stuff. And you had mentioned this book.
We were talking about the struggles around the clothes closet and how we were talking about that in episode 427 and how we were like, we need help. And we had both found Dr. Mary Claire. That's her Instagram, but she is Dr. Mary Claire Haber. Yeah.
Yes. And she's very active on social media. She's a very strong advocate for women's health, especially around perimenopause and menopause. So at that time, you, I think, had put the book like a request in for the library.
Yes.
And you got it. You read it. Tell me your thoughts as we close out this conversation. Oh, look, you even brought it.
I got it.
Whoa.
I brought it.
Okay.
There it is.
Yes.
I'll do a freeze so you can take a picture. There you go.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Okay. I bought this and I had high hopes, but I was also had a heavy amount of skepticism because I don't trust diet culture. And so I have been burned. I have done some diets that were not good for me over time. I don't have a good body image mindset. But what convinced me to buy her book was her account. And she is legit. And so she doesn't talk about, please be skinny. She talked about you're experiencing the following symptoms. Let me help you.
Yes.
And she won't deny that one of them is belly fat. And we've talked about this again in other episodes about how, and I think it was 427, how unfair it is that fat deposits start happening in our midsection. And intentionally, our bodies do that on purpose. Once we hit midlife, it's an actual thing. And the research showed that no change in diet and you're still going to gain. And I found that in here too. And so I loved it. I love the book. It really is one of those books that you're going to highlight. So I rarely buy a book in hard copy. I just don't. I do audio and I take notes. But 2 reasons I went ahead and spent the money on this is one, I was going to highlight a ton. And then the other part, and I'm going to show you right here, how much of the book is a plan, like an actual eating plan that she gives you. So this is the data.
Yeah.
And why she did what she's done. And this plan that she has created. And then this is the plan and menus.
Oh my gosh.
She gives you very specific menus, but she also provides for vegetarians or whatever. So it's not like you have to do this. Well, like, okay, which I had been frustrated because I had just started doing the no dairy and gluten free.
Yes.
And I was like, can I do this? But she must have heard from women like me while she was working on this, because I get very frustrated when a plan is like, okay, have this salmon with blah, blah, blah. And then at dinner have blah, blah, blah. And every day is a whole different thing.
Yes.
She does not do this. She's frugal. She's like, okay, you're going to make this. You're going to have it for lunch today. And you're going to have it for lunch 2 days later. So, she's realistic about it. She's realistic. So we're not making a whole different meal every time. And we're not wasting food. And that's a big deal to me, is not wasting food. But the part that really had me was she goes through 9 hormones that are affected in perimenopause. 9. Meg, I didn't know those. I was like, I'm doing a series with Meg and I hadn't heard of these hormones. So
no, we usually think
yeah.
about like the big 3, right? Like progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone.
Yep.
But
And so
there's
she
actually
starts with those, but insulin and leptin, which we've talked about with the fat bears, ghrelin, I hope I'm saying that right, cortisol, neuropeptide Y. Like, she walks you through the medical reasons we're experiencing what we're experiencing. And she's like, I'm
Wow.
going to help you. And I was like, girl, take my money. And now I will
Yes.
say, I wish she lived here so she could cook for me and do the thing.
Yes.
And I had planned to start it last Tuesday, the day after my birthday. I had decided I did start with phase 1 for me. So I ended up joining a little group, creating a little group of bookish people from Instagram that were interested in this.
Okay.
And so there's a few of us like, okay, what are we going to start with? We talked about the book and we each made a goal. So my goal, number 1, was to start the intermittent fasting, which she encourages to not eat from 8 p.m. At night till 11 a.m. the next morning.
Okay.
So I have started doing that, giving up my chai, which is a really weird thing. But the data that she brings to the table convinced me. And then the next phase was supposed to start the day after my birthday. But, you know, like you said at the beginning of the show, I got COVID. And Meg, I don't try to do anything when I'm sick.
No.
So
that is not the
am
time.
moving in. I am moving into this.
Yes.
But I just want you guys to know this book is very informative. She goes through and explains why things are happening. And to me, that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to tie it to medical. Meg, I don't want to develop an eating disorder. I don't want to be like, oh, I can't have a French fry ever again or whatever. But for her to help bring it home on why my brain and why my memory and why the hot flashes and all those things. And then say, let me give you some food to eat to combat that. I was like, okay, girl, I'm in. So I will be starting it and I look forward to sharing more about it. But I do think she's done it. She's helping women. You know, I don't know when she talks about macronutrients and eating windows and anti-inflammatory foods. When I've talked about it with friends, they've heard of those things. And I just haven't, because again, I've stayed away from diet culture and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. You're just going to tell me that I need to be thin. But for her to bring these into a medical thing is wonderful. So that's my update. I look forward to giving you another update once I get going on the plan, but I think it's worthwhile. I trust her. And that's saying something again. Yes. But that was like we talked about last time, watching a lot of her stuff, and she cares about women. And she cares about what we're experiencing. And she's not looking for an end result of a size. She's looking for an end result. Do you feel better? So,
yes. Oh, so good. So good. Thank you for that update. I definitely need to check that out too, for sure. Okay, Mindy, thank you so much for this conversation again. Just coming in days after having, you know, COVID and all of the things, the battles. Thank you for taking the time to read the research with me and share your thoughts. This means so much. If people want to find you, like you mentioned, on Instagram or wherever to chat more about midlife issues or books or whatever, where can we find you all around the web?
I am on Instagram more than a person should be at Grateful for Grace. So come hang out.
Awesome. Love it. I am on social media at Sorta Awesome Meg. You can find the show by searching Sorta Awesome wherever you are on social media and find us there. Awesomes. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.